Today is the 1st of May, and I woke up to a glorious fog. A fog that almost ironically lifted the fog that I had been living in for the last little while now. Life has been challenging lately, and to be honest, I have been feeling a bit lost. April in particular, with its eclipses and retrogrades, felt like that moment in Spirited Away when Chihiro is holding her breath while crossing the bridge into the spirit world. That moment just before taking a breath that will somehow change everything in a big way. I knew full well that I was on the edge of something groundbreaking in my spiritual, mental, and emotional life, and that I was slowly making my way through the fog and confusion of a gradual portal. And while I was steadfast in my practice of mindfulness and gratitude, there was a thick cloud of fuzziness and discomfort between the highs and lows of the early spring season. But today I knew it was time to step the rest of the way through that portal and leave the remnants of the old chapter behind me. Instead of my usual morning routine, I stepped outside right away to explore the misty, mysterious world that I had woken up into before it faded away. I almost didn't even realize what day it was, the 1st of May. The folkloric festival of frolicking fires and fairies, of rebirth, renewal, and rejuvenation, when the veil between the realms of the mundane and the magical is said to be thin, and enchantment hangs in the air. Well, how lucky was I to find myself in a foggy field first thing in the morning on this magical day, with actual May's Eve morning dew softly coating everything in sight. I reached out to feel this magical cleansing dew on my fingertips, and it occurred to me that perhaps it was a good thing that I had slipped into my porous running shoes instead of my boots and could feel the cold dampness on my toes. Instead of lamenting my wet socks, I rejoiced in the happy accident of this unexpected Beltane dew foot bath. While I, in my baseball cap over bedhead hair and dorky sneakers with socks pulled up over the bottom of my leggings to protect against bug bites, was a far cry from that aesthetic image of a flower-crowned maiden bathing nude in a forest stream, or with her white dress and loose hair streaming behind her as she frolics barefoot through a field that isn't right next to a motorway. This was the most enchanting May's Eve morning I could have asked for. A year ago this time, I woke up in a matchbox apartment complex in a loud industrial area with nothing even vaguely resembling a field or forest or vernal pool for miles around. My career and financial goals for the year were not going as hoped so far, and my dreams of living a quieter life closer to nature felt as far off as that aesthetic stock image of the perfect Beltane maiden. And I was just about to get the news that my father had passed away, ushering in the rest of what would be one of the most difficult years of mine and my family's life. But I cast my spells anyway that May's Eve as I planted seeds on my tiny apartment patio. Even in the midst of so much physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual upheaval last year, I somehow made it through, and even managed to break through into new realms of beauty in my art, writing, gardening, foraging, and magical housekeeping journey. And while the career pivots and financial challenges continued, somehow my spell for a new home would come to fruition just in time to celebrate the winter solstice in my new home. And in the exact area where I'd hoped to move to, even though absolutely nothing about the actual process of moving had gone according to plan, proving again that the universe works in mysterious ways. While I never could have foreseen how it would all go, I had clung to the one thing I knew would keep me focused and in alignment with my intentions for my life, leaning as much into the magic of nature and the home as I possibly could, even in far less than perfect circumstances. I created daily rituals that consistently immersed me in the thoughts and feelings of the green witch/cottage witch that I wanted to be, and as they say, what you focus on grows. And now here I was this Beltane morning, literally bathing in the May's Eve morning mist in a patch of wilderness just a stone's throw away from my new home and garden that had seemed a world away a year ago this time. Even though my life still isn't quote-unquote perfect, like that stereotypical Beltane imagery so many of us have on our Pinterest boards, I'm getting to experience the imperfect perfection of real, natural magic in my everyday life. I ran my hands over the bed of blossoming brush and rubbed the magical morning dew into my face and hands, washing away the stress, worry, and tiredness from the season past and anointing them with new energy and life. Making sure to get around my eyes and mouth, to wash away the old tears and frowns so I may see the beauty of life anew and speak words of joy and inspiration once more. Washing away the feeling that my hands were idle, or more specifically, always busy with busy work, and ushering in a new chapter of fresh creativity and renewed sense of purpose. Back in the garden, my new herbal altar was ready to be planted, and the dandelions and ground ivy that the landowner had just mowed down not 2 days prior were already returning to abundance. I made a simple celebratory meal of oats and honey with dew-covered flowers from the yard, and being that the 1st of May is our official last frost date around these parts, now we garden. Greetings, magical mavens. I'm Afura Nefertiti, a witch of Hedge, Hearth, and Harvest. You may know me from my quote-unquote day job as an artist, author, filmmaker, and host of the Writing Witch podcast, where you may have seen me over on my other channel. For nearly a decade now, I've been crafting magical grimoire journals and interactive Book of Shadows page sets for the Writing Witch shop, as well as creating free and members-only content on how to live your most magical life by responding to the prompts of Mother Nature in a magical journal. While mindset magic, word witchery, and all things rolled over by the element of air are a huge part of my path, practice, and purpose, recently the universe gave me a strong nudge to step outside of the box of the air element witch and to lean more into another aspect of my path, practice, and purpose: earth element magic. While my big 3 astrology placements are in air and fire signs and houses, I actually also have a Capricorn stellium in my chart, meaning that I have a ton of planets, including my chart ruler, in an earth sign. And outside of the Writing Witch persona that I share on the internet, my personal life and practice are very much centered around the hearth and home, as well as appreciating and crafting with the gifts of Mother Earth. And in this world where mental ambition and the pursuit of technology are often valued over a simple, nourishing connection to nature, I've been feeling strongly called to turn more and more to this earthy side of my path, to create a sense of balance, and to share this aspect of my magical practice more openly. Since around the time of the pandemic, I started turning to my more earthy side more and more for a sense of grounding, fulfillment, and connection to nature that none of the other elements seem to be able to provide. I made it my mission to get as close as possible to my best green witchy lifestyle, even if that meant testing the limits of what being a green witch or cottage witch could mean. Starting with exploring what homesteading could be done in a small apartment with minimal space, 0 land, and not much access to sunlight. For what felt like forever at the time, my main goal for my practice was to manifest a quieter life closer to nature, and this past winter solstice time, my wish finally came true. I made a big move from my 2nd-story flat in an overcrowded industrial area to a house with a large yard in a suburban town. I'm beyond grateful for this epic shift, and while I'm still in a rental situation and on a tight budget right now, the energy of nature, spaciousness, and abundance are so much more pronounced in this new reality that I've created for myself. And I wanted to share this new chapter with all my magical mavens out there who are shifting or desiring to shift to a more nature-based lifestyle, regardless of what your current living situation may be. I started sharing my green witch/cottage witch journey in the apartment on my other channel last year, sometimes weaving what I was learning into my content on seasonal journal prompts, and other times branching out into experimental, just-for-fun vlog-style videos. And a lot of the community over there let me know just how much they were enjoying it and feeling inspired to step more into their green and/or cottage witchy side, regardless of whether they even had access to like a 10 by 10 patio like I did. I also got feedback from community members who do own a big, beautiful piece of land, but had kind of gotten disillusioned, wrapped up in their muggle life, or any other number of reasons that was preventing them from truly seeing the beauty and magic in nature, and how my channel was inspiring them to step back into that. But being that the channel is called The Writing Witch, it was unclear whether that was really the right place to be sharing that kind of stuff. So after about a year of feeling into things, I finally gotten the nudge from my higher self to stop second guessing my worthiness to be sharing about something I feel so new to stop worrying about if anyone would actually watch a new channel from me, and to stop worrying about whether or not I would be accepted into the online homesteading and homemaking community when I'm so different from the normal demographic. On my journey thus far, I've been so inspired by and grateful for all the resources now available on the internet about how to live a more eco-friendly and earth-grounded life. But I must admit, at times it has been a bit challenging to find others like me, so to speak, to connect with, who don't necessarily fit into the usual demographic of the mainstream homemaking and homesteading community. Something I've noticed is that it seems like a vast majority of people who are sharing about the subjects I'm now interested in are married with children, Christian, and living on acres of land they own. And rarely are people of color. Even among the few I found sharing about these subjects within the Magickal community, most everyone seems to live in a glorious rural or wooded area, perfectly embodying that green witch/cottage witch aesthetic in just about every way. And while there's absolutely nothing inherently wrong with any of the above things, I would love to break the stereotypes a bit and make magical homemaking and homesteading and green magic more accessible by bringing more diversity and relatability into the space. While I'm happy to make this channel a safe space for anyone who's interested and respectful, I felt called to step up and also represent an outside-the-box perspective on these subjects of homemaking, homesteading, and green living, which can and should really be for everyone, regardless of race, creed, gender, marital status, socioeconomic status, or location. As a young-ish, unmarried, childless witch of color who does not currently own my home or have any livestock, I wanted to share my journey with anyone who may find it inspiring. That's not to say that my channel is meant to be about these things that make me different. My goal is for this channel to be welcoming and inspiring to folks from all walks of life, and especially those of us in the Magickal community where it's loved and accepted that everyone's path is different. But I do feel this less common perspective of what it looks like to be a homemaker and homesteader can provide a little something that may be needed in the community. Mainly, this channel will be about how those of us on a witchy, pagan, animist, pantheist, or nature-based spiritual path can deepen our connection to nature by finding our natural place within the cycles of life. While I'm still toward the beginning of my homesteading journey, I have over a decade of experience following an intuitively led, eclectic, nature-based spiritual path, and have been exploring the practice of magical seasonal living and magical homemaking for a long time now. I've also been actively learning as much as I can about things like herbology, ecology, seasonal eating, gardening, foraging, cooking with real food, learning traditional and historic skills, and living a more eco-friendly, sustainable lifestyle for years now, from a place of seeing nature as sacred. And I'm excited to share everything I'm learning with those in the community like you who find those things inspiring, without it necessarily having to come through the lens of journal prompts. So with that said, to both new faces and returning viewers from my other channel, welcome to the Hedge, Hearth, and Harvest Homestead. Friends of my own channel have shared that some of their favorite content from me are the videos about magical seasonal living practices, witchy homemaking, and green witchcraft, especially the vlog-style videos where I'm artfully documenting the magical mischief I get up to out in nature and within the home. So that's exactly what this channel is going to be. A designated place for the hedge witchy fun that isn't necessarily relevant to the Writing Witch channel. So the format of most of the videos on this channel will be artful vlog footage of my magical seasonal living, homemaking, homesteading, and foraging adventures with a relaxing voiceover and or music. Since I'm a busy bee, these videos will contain multiple segments as I go about various hedge and hearth witchy projects. I'll share a bit about the magical thinking behind each practice with tips on how you can bring more magic and fulfillment into your everyday life, regardless of where you're at in your magical homemaking and green witchy journey. Like I said, even though I'm grateful to have access to more land on which to learn and grow now, I'm still renting, and I'm coming off about 7 years of city apartment life after having my first real garden in a suburban backyard back in 2015 to 2016. So I am chock full of small space and rental unit hacks that will have you living more in tune with your best hedge and hearth witchy lifestyle, even if your situation is different than where I'm at now. But that being said, since I do have access to more land now, I'm also going to have more freedom to try out different things and would love to learn with, as well as be inspired by and inspire those of you who also have a bit of land to work with. And since I'm a projector as per human design, some of my most magical creations come as a result of invitations from others, so I thought it would be fun to bring an interactive element to this new channel too. Since I get up to so many projects and just have so much insight to share about each of them, I've decided to start a new Patreon page where I'll share full in-depth information videos and step-by-step tutorials on one subject per month based on viewers' votes. So when I post each vlog, I'll also post a poll on our YouTube community page listing the projects and subjects touched upon in the vlog. You'll be invited to vote for which one you'd want to dive deeper into, and the winning topic will be covered on Patreon. And to celebrate the start of this new chapter, the first full tutorial video will be shared with all Patreon members, even if you're on the free tier. As I mentioned, community is such an important part of this journey, but I'm not big into social media like Facebook and Instagram. I feel I can better give and receive wisdom with fellow magical mavens without all the social media distractions, and I have a feeling a lot of you guys agree with me, so I would love to invite you to become a free or paid member over on Patreon. That's where I'm going to be sharing both free and paid tips and ideas, as well as personal updates about magical homemaking and natural living that I think will inspire you. So I would love to see you over there. Whether you're seeing my content for the first time or if you're coming over from the other channel, I would love it if you'd like to introduce yourself in the comments and let us know where you're at in your earth magic journey so far. As this is a brand new channel, I would also love it if you could help the algorithm connect me with more like-minded friends by subscribing, turning on notifications by hitting the bell button, and maybe even sharing this video with anyone you feel might be inspired by this kind of content. Thank you so much for joining me for this exciting new chapter, and stay tuned for my next video where I'll be sharing some of the magical homemaking and wildcrafting that I've gotten up to this past spring season. Until then, enjoy the seasons and elements, and don't be afraid to embrace your natural magic. Blessed be.